And welcome back, rugby fans, to Rugby411. As always, I'm your host. My name is Joshua Shibata, and this is our Week 8 preview of the MLR 2025 season. We are almost at the halfway point of the season. Again, it feels like it's gone by so quickly. It's ridiculous. We have 5 games again this weekend. This time, though, 4 games on Saturday, 1 game on Sunday. Don't know the logic of that one, but it is what it is. Some of the games on Saturday are spread out a little bit, and remember, you can watch all the games live or on demand on ESPN Plus in the United States, internationally on the Rugby Network. Rugby Network, of course, absolutely free. So if you're here in the United States and you don't want to pay the small fee, I feel, for what you get on ESPN Plus, especially if you tack it on to Hulu or the Disney Plus, I mean, you get a great offer. I feel you get so much for the price that you pay, but regardless, you have to wait 72 hours later, and they will pop up on the Rugby Network. Also, too, the beauty of ESPN Plus is on demand. It literally pops up right after it first airs, so kind of convenient. No knock on the Rugby Network, but it usually takes a little bit of time before anything shows up on them. ESPN Plus, it's almost instantly. So for somebody that watches all the games, it's a lot more convenient. Anyways, as I mentioned before, 4 games on Saturday, 1 on Sunday, and it is a stacked lineup. Let's start out first. Saturday, April 5th, 2025, 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, we have the Seattle Seawolves, your two-time former MLR champions, taking on Old Glory DC. Seattle finally getting a win after a long losing streak, and Old Glory suffering a pretty tough loss against RFCLA. In this rivalry, they are 2-2. Of course, this game, before I forget to mention, at the Maryland Soccerplex, and they are 2-2 in this rivalry. Both of the wins of Old Glory over Seattle were at home. Last year they played only once. Seattle won that game in Seattle, only winning by 2 points, 26-24. Again, as I mentioned before, Seattle has been suffering quite a bit, or struggling quite a bit this season. Old Glory looking pretty good, and I mean, they took a beating from LA, but it was a good competitive game. Seattle did win. Again, it was against Anthem, and it was closer than it should have been. I don't know. Seattle's just been really, really off this season, and I just feel Old Glory at Old Glory. I feel Old Glory walks away with the win. A couple of hours later, 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, NOLA Gold on a 5-game losing streak takes on Anthem Rugby Carolina, who have not yet won a game. This is it, rugby fans. This is the game. I've been saying Anthem Rugby Carolina is going to win at least, I'll admit, maybe not 4 games, but they are going to win a game this season after going winless last season. They've been so close this season, numerous times. This is the game. Anthem's going to win this one. It's going to be an Anthem, and boy, I can't wait to watch this game, because if you haven't been watching games with Anthem, especially at the American Legion Memorial Stadium, there is a dude, or I'm assuming it's a guy, but there is a fan at these games who dresses up in a skeleton. He's supposed to be, I feel like, death, because he has a scythe and everything, and a clock. He is waiting. I feel he's supposed to be the specter of death, waiting for that first time he can claim the soul of another team with a victory by Anthem Rugby Carolina. I can't wait to see what he does when Anthem wins their very first game, and it's at home against the NOLA Gold. Put me down. This is the game. Anthem will win. Just ignore these facts, because I still am standing by it. These two teams have played against each other 3 times so far. NOLA has won all 3 games. Arguably very one-sided games. I just really feel this is the game. Anthem's going to get their first win. NOLA hasn't won since week 1. And again, I'll admit, that game was against Anthem at the very beginning of the season. But I feel since then, Anthem has done everything to improve. NOLA hasn't won a game since. So, I'm going with Anthem. Anthem avenges the loss. They get their first win of the season. Let's do it, Anthem. This is it. And then, 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, a huge West Conference showdown. RFCLA, first time having won 3 games in a row, going over to Houston to take on the Houston SaberCats, who had a dominating performance against the last team to have a undefeated record in Major League Rugby, San Diego Legion, manhandled them at SaberCat Stadium. Now they are going to host RFCLA. Man, this, all logic points to Houston winning. Houston has not lost a game to RCLA. They played against each other 3 times. Houston's pretty much dominated all those games, including earlier in the season where LA was up in Wallace Annenberg Stadium against Houston 28-12 in the first half, and then all of a sudden just collapsed in the second half, allowing Houston to score 21 unanswered points to win 33-28. To win 43-28. They scored 33 unanswered points in the second half. I really feel confident that LA, with the depth that they have, can win against Houston. They just got to make sure to clean up some of their penalty problems. They haven't really shown signs of that. They are still the most penalized team. But I feel good about the momentum that LA has. They just got to play smart in this game. They have the depth. They have the talent. I feel they can easily go on a roll here. It's going to be tough, but I'm going to stick with LA winning this game, taking down the Houston SaberCats, my number 1 ranked team in the ranking. Let's go LA! Let's go RFCLA! And now let's continue on with the rest of the games on the slate this weekend. Last game on Saturday is Rugby in prime time if you're on the West Coast. 7 p.m. Pacific Standard kickoff. Chicago Hounds going over to Torrio Stadium to take on the now one-time defeated San Diego Legion, coming home after a beating by the Houston SaberCats. Chicago, though, looking a little shaky, going in with a win by just 2 points against Nola Gold. These two teams have faced off against each other 3 times. San Diego's only won 2 of the 3 games. And last year, Chicago did beat San Diego 22-16 in Chicago. Despite the loss, I think coming back home will really help San Diego. I think it'll just kind of wake things up a little bit. It is kind of shocking because they looked really just out of sorts. Again, they will be home though. Chicago looked shaky against NOLA, so I'm gonna kind of go with San Diego with this one. But we'll see. I mean, it's gonna be a close game, an exciting game to finish Saturday. And then our only game on Sunday, it is Rugby Brunch, 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Miami Sharks taking on the two-time defending and reigning Major League Rugby champions, New England Free Jacks, who haven't been looking super hot. They did win this last weekend. Miami coming off of a bye, and you know what that means. When the team comes off of a bye, chances are they're probably going to lose. In this game, these two teams surprisingly have a 1-1 record against each other. Both of them were home victories. The last time Miami hosted the New England Free Jacks, Miami won 15-13. Miami is, though, on a 3-game losing streak after a pretty hot start. New England is kind of bouncing back a little bit. They did have a very impressive win against Utah. We'll see if that kind of shakes things up a bit. I think New England, though, is more, again, a team that's on the rise. I think Miami is a team that, again, after a pretty hot start, just kind of is floundering a bit. I don't know what is contributed to that one. Again, teams that have a bye have so far this season pretty much been losing. So I'm going to kind of say that continues, and I feel New England will get another win under their belt. Miami still struggling to try to figure out what is going on this season. It's year 2 for them in Major League Rugby. So that is my preview and my pick 'em thoughts. So again, you can watch all these games live or on demand on ESPN Plus. In the States, internationally, the Rugby Network. Or again, if you want to not pay for the ESPN Plus, You have to wait 72 hours later, and all these games will be on demand on the Rugby Network, absolutely free. As always, don't forget, if you're in my SuperBru Pick Em pool, make sure you put in your picks. And thank you very much for checking out my videos, and I'll see you on the pitch.